It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Shall we podcast? I think we shall. It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. I'm Sean Widmer. Thanks for tuning in. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I'm somebody who is going to terribly end the podcast today. Because I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not inspirational. I don't want to pretend like I am, but something came up today in my mind. I wanted to get out here. We'll talk about why I want to do that in Kelly's What Are You Into later. So stay tuned for what is sure to be chaos and not worded correctly, but it's something that I want to get out there. Before all that, though, we've got a couple news stories that I need to talk about. One from the sports world we'll hit on quick. One from the entertainment world we'll hit on quick. A story about my daughter and what she's into right now in terms of a class she is taking and a fun thing she said to the person who's in charge of the class. But we have some housekeeping, some cleanup to do from the last couple episodes to kick the show off, including the number one thing that I was reached out about, and thank you to the people who reached out about it. The story Monday about me mowing into my neighbor's yard, not knowing what to do. And we were going to get some feedback on that, I believe, inside the comments section today. I think some people left some comments about it, if I recall correctly. But I know I got some texts about it. And a lot of people informing me, do not mow your grass to start with on the very lowest setting your lawnmower can be on, which is what I love to do because I love how it looks when it's really low to the ground. But enough people came out that said that's not good for your yard that I need to reconsider all that. And a couple people mentioned to me that could actually kill your grass, which I had a hard time in Spokane with dead grass. I was struggling with it. It might have all come down to the fact I had mowed that stuff way too short. So I took that and immediately thought, okay, thank you for the tip. But then I panicked because I was like, well, wait a second. If that kills my lawn, that would also kill my neighbor's lawn. And now I'm a lawn killer for someone else's house. And I don't know how you deal with that. If I killed my neighbor's lawn by mowing it too short, I have to hide in my house for the rest of the year. I can't show my face. I have to be a ghost in the neighborhood. Or I guess I could go and put a sign in my front yard that says, who mowed my lawn? And maybe, I could pretend with the neighbor that there's some kind of serial lawn mower out there who's going around mowing people's yards too short, killing everyone's grass. So those are my two options, I think. My hope is that nothing dies and that all this grass is good as gold and I know where to mow moving forward and we just forget about it and carry on with 2024. But thank you to the people who gave me a bunch of lawn mowing tips. They're actually really helpful, so I very much appreciated it. Now, Johnny Drez, you were not helpful. I always love hearing from one of my best buds, John. But this time it wasn't great. As John decided he didn't care about my yard, which is totally fair and fine. He expects me to do dumb things. But he did chime in on my cookie list. Top 3 cookies: Snickerdoodle, oatmeal, fortune cookie. Those are the 3. And John said in his text, "You sound 100 years old." Go ahead, Michael. I'll pause real quick for Michael to clap. Go ahead, Michael. This is your moment. Thank you. Okay, young guys, what are the cookies then, buds? I asked Johnny Boy, and Johnny said it's chocolate chip, no bake, and peanut butter. Okay, I understand that those are popular cookies. I'm not a chocolate chip cookie fan. I do not despise them. I would never seek them out. If there's a bunch of cookies out, it's never the first one I'm eating. I don't really love them at all. I don't really like them, but I can put up with them. A no-bake cookie I'm out on. I do not like chocolate, that much chocolate. I don't mind chocolate. I just don't mind that much chocolate. I'm not a no-bake guy. I think a lot of times the consistency in a no-bake does not work for me. I like them if they're really gooey, which at that point is just like a chocolate granola. Might as well put it in a bowl, which I would be down with. And then peanut butter cookie. For some reason, the peanut butter cookies, and I love peanut butter, I don't love a peanut butter cookie. So, John, I'm out on your cookies, dude. Dude, you don't sound 100 years old. You just sound like you have bad taste, bud. Jeez. Although everyone is going to agree with you. When they hear those cookies, they're going to go, yeah, John's right. Michael, what's your... Okay, I'm a 100-year-old man. Hey, Michael, what's your favorite cookie? Is it like one of those cookies where it's not chocolate chips, but it's M&Ms? What do you got, young boy? Let me know. I did neglect one cookie, and I know why I neglected it, but it would have been on the top of my list had I not if I had it categorized differently. A sugar cookie, a regular old sugar cookie, would be my number one. Regular old sugar cookie with frosting. My problem is, much like with candy, around, I don't know, December, I have sugar cookies locked in as a holiday cookie. They are not a regular 365 cookie in my brain, even though they probably are. I know back in Spokane, you could get those cookies all the time. They would always have them on display at the little coffee stands around town. So they're a very normal cookie, but for some reason in my brain, because of growing up with those cookies being decorated every year at Christmas, I've got a sugar cookie with frosting locked in as a holiday cookie, which then takes it out of the running as a great cookie because I don't have Christmas candies in my candy list. You know, there's going to be a bunch of Easter candies out right now that I'm going to dig. A Cadbury egg, I dig a Cadbury egg. But because it's seasonal to me, it doesn't belong on the year-round top candy list. So that's where sugar cookies are with me. But I did neglect them. I wanted to give them a little love right here. I don't think anyone commented. Well, we'll see. Maybe someone commented with their 3 cookies and we can judge them. But Johnny, take your no-bakes and shove them. All right. I love you, John. Miss you. 2 stories for you. One from the entertainment world, one from the sports world real quick. Then we're going to get into my daughter and her class. And then we're going to get into not Kelly's What Are You Into, but Kelly's What Do I Want to Be Into. So we'll get to that. And then the comments. Brett Goldstein played Roy Kent in the hit television show Ted Lasso. He is set to make a return to your television screens. And it is on a show that I believe is one of the best shows that has been released in the last 5 to 10 years. And that is Shrinking, an Apple TV Plus show. I know I've talked about it on the podcast before. It is the show with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. They're therapists. It covers their job as therapists. Jason Segel hits a point in his career where he has just he's got a lot going on, and he goes in and he just starts telling the people that he's the therapist of exactly what he thinks, not sugarcoating stuff, not necessarily the best advice maybe. One of the clients moves into his house. It is a brilliant show. It's very, very funny. I thought it was very well written. I don't even know where you find it, where you slot it. I guess a drama comedy, a dramedy, because there is plenty of drama in it, but there's so much funny to it as well. And I don't know which one there's more of. So it's right down the middle sometimes. Anyways, Brett Goldstein is an executive producer for that show. He's one of the people who created the television show Shrinking. And this year he's going to, I'm sure, still be behind the camera doing the executive producing stuff and all that. But he's going to get back out in front of the camera, and Brett Goldstein will be in season 2 of Shrinking. I do not know when that comes out. Hopefully soon. And if you have time and you have Apple TV Plus, I highly recommend watching that series. It is really good. Very well written, very well acted. All the actors in there do a great job. I can't even think of somebody who was on it that I go, they're a weak link. Their character wasn't great. And most shows I can think of that of, but I just really, really good show. So that'll be fun to see Roy Kent back out on the TV on another Apple TV Plus show, but this time it's his show. The other bit of news that I saw today that I wanted to bring up, big news for Gonzaga, and this is a weird time to bring up this kind of sports news because right now I'm very much focused on the Zags Friday night game against Purdue. And that's really all I want to focus on, except this was announced today as the transfer portal is rocking and rolling, and people are announcing what school they're going to go to. All of Washington State's basketball and athletic program apparently is leaving to go elsewhere. Their athletic director is going to UW, which seems crazy. Their basketball coach is going to Stanford. Everyone's jumping ship because the Washington State is not in a conference. I mean, they're in the WCC for 2 years, and then they're going to figure out what to do there. There's no certainty. Chaos. Unfortunate chaos for Coug fans. I know that they didn't do anything to deserve this. It's an unfortunate circumstance that kicked them right in the teeth. And now they're paying the price because they're losing everything. They're going to start losing their basketball players next, which is a major, major bummer. Anyways, Gonzaga signed transfer from Pepperdine, Michael Ajayi. Ajayi, I think that's how you say it. Ajayi. It's not a Yagi like Joel Ajayi. Ajayi. This is a kid who was from Kent, Washington, spent a little bit of time at I forget what school it was, up in Washington. I believe it was a smaller school in Washington. Then went down to Pepperdine for a year, and these were his numbers from the West Coast Conference. Are you ready for this? 17.2 points per game, 9.9 rebounds a game, and shot 47% from three last year. He's 6'7", the missing piece this year for the Zags. A 6'7" shooter? If they had a 6'7" shooter right now, I would not be nervous about the Purdue game. Or I would be nervous, but not as nervous as I am right now. Holy smokes. Remember, next season, and I don't want to look ahead to next season, but this news came out, so I have to for a second. As of right now, the only thing Gonzaga is losing is Anton. That's it. Everyone else is eligible to come back next year. And I don't know what the plans are for guys like Nembhard, Hickman. Well, not. I think Hickman, you're going to stay. I'm just going to tell you that now. But I don't know what, Nembhard, Ike, I don't know what their plans are. Test the waters in the NBA, test the waters in the transfer portal, try to go make some money somewhere. I don't know. I hope they all stay, because if they do, that core is still there. You obviously lose a huge piece with Anton, but you're going to have a year more improvement on your young guys. You're going to have a year of cohesiveness with this team, which is huge. They're going to have another summer to hang out together. And then you bring in a dead-eye shooter who's tall. I mean, that's Ryan Nembhard, Nolan Hickman, Ben Gregg, Ajayi, and Ike, your starting five next year. That's real good. Now, you will miss the defensive part of Anton, the physical part of Anton, and you will need to find a way, if you are Coach Few and the Zags, you are going to need to find a big guy, a big, strong guy, because and Braden Huff, maybe a summer on the weight room will help out with that. But you need a body down low to help out Ike with the big men who come through and play you next year. Anyways, okay, so there's some Gonzaga news. It was very exciting. I'm real excited about it. That's a cool transfer portal thing. Now let's get back to focusing on Purdue and Zags. Let's win a game on Friday night. Okay, before we get into Kelly's what do I wish I was into, and some terrible motivational talking, and we'll get into why I'm doing that in a second. My daughter is currently in swim lessons, and she needs this and loves it. First of all, she loves the swimming pool, and she loves the water. Anytime she's been at a swimming lesson, she's the first one to get into the pool. She's the last one to get out of the pool. She hates it when we leave swim lessons the last couple of years. But we focus on swimming with my daughter because my in-laws have a pool, and those are a bit terrifying when you're a parent. They just are. You never want anything bad to happen around a pool, but you hear stories all the time about bad stuff happening. It's not great. It's not great. I'm not trying to make this depressing, but we want to make sure our daughter knows what she's doing around the water. So she's in swim lessons, and she's been enjoying it a lot. And it was great because the first day, the swim teacher looked at my daughter and said, "Okay, Olivia, how much do you know about swimming?" To which my daughter looked her dead in the eyes and responded with, "I know that I don't want to sink to the bottom." Okay, Olivia, fair. Probably not the answer they're looking for. More of a, I know how to paddle with my feet. I know how to use my arms to stay up. I know how to get my head underwater. I know how to jump off the side. I know how to float on my back. Nah, we just went with I know I don't want to be at the bottom. When it's all said and done, I'd like to be on the top of the water. So kudos to my daughter for giving an answer that I was very proud of. Not necessarily the answer they're probably looking for as the teacher of swim lessons, but that girl just adores it, man. She loves getting in that pool, and she's good at it. She's good at it, and I love seeing the improvement. I'm excited for her to get to swim this summer because I love seeing the joy on her face when she gets in the water. And this kind of leads to today. It's not Kelly's "What are you into?" It's Kelly's "What do you want to be into?"
Kelly's "What are you into?"
And I mentioned right off the top, I'm not a motivational speaker. This is not a podcast about being motivational. At least it's not supposed to be. I'm not out here trying to be inspirational and tap into this idea that I'm your go-to guy for inspirational podcasting content. But I had a little epiphany today, and I wanted to share it on here. Part of this podcast is very selfish. A lot of it's very selfish. You listen to the open of the podcast. It is a journal by a guy, me, Sean, who does not love to write. But when I started the podcast when I started the podcast originally in 2005, it was just for my buddies. And then in the late 2000s, I was doing it because I didn't know what the podcast world was, and I thought there might be an avenue to doing it full time. And so I was kind of in the murky waters from like 2008 to 2012 of trying to figure out what I could possibly do with this in terms of making money. Realized that wasn't really going to happen. And so then this turned into kind of a time capsule for me, because I realized in 2005, I have podcasts dating back to when I'm in my early 20s. And now I'm 42. So I've got 20 years of podcasts on these hard drives. And I've always told myself when I hit 50, I want to listen to them. I don't go back and listen to my podcasts. Once they're posted, I don't go back and listen to them or watch them on YouTube. They're just there. But I told myself when I turned 50, I want to go through and listen to so much cringeworthy audio, because my stuff from the mid 2000s is so cringy bad. I think there's a podcast last summer where you can listen to my very first podcast ever, September 2005. It is so bad. And they're awful. I'm sure today's are cringy too, currently, but they're going to be really cringy when I'm 50 years old, in 8 years. When I go back and I just kind of listen through and go, oh my gosh, let's walk down memory lane with my life from when I'm in my 20s. What was going on then? In my early 30s, what's going on then? My mid 30s, now, today, right, with kids moving to Kentucky. So I'm excited to have this for me, but I also am excited to have this stuff to pass on to my kids. And I've got a hard drive for Huck. I've got a hard drive for Olivia. I've got to get one for Woods that has family videos, family pictures, and all my podcast episodes on them. So they've got this just a hard drive. Each one of them will have a hard drive with our family on it and stuff about their dad. And is that very self-centered of me? Maybe that part is. But the other stuff I think is cool. I love knowing I take a lot of video, just random video of the kids during the day. Try to get like a 2-minute video every day of whether it's eating dinner, playing in the backyard, whatever they're watching on TV, whatever it may be. I just try to get video and save it for them so they have all these videos during their lifetimes to go back and relive. And then I want to put all my podcasts on there so they can see what their dad was all about, dating back to 2005, and be like, our dad was a real loser in the 2000s, and he really thought he knew a lot about sports and didn't. Anyways, how do we tie all this together? I guess why I bring that up is in 8 years, I might want to listen back to this podcast, and the next thing I talk about, I want to maybe have a reminder to myself to focus on this, because I struggle with this from time to time. And it happened today at swim lessons. And maybe it's something that my kids listen to in the future, and then maybe can help them out a little bit. Like, hey, Dad wants you to be good at this. So today at swim lessons, my daughter's in the pool, and she is having so much fun. And she's doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. They've got a bunch of little girls who are going to go out with the instructor. They're all holding on to the side of the wall. They can touch the ground, but the instructor will come over, grab one, swim them out about 15 yards, and then swim them back. And so while you're waiting for your turn, my daughter is just constantly jumping. She's jumping up, holding onto the side, and going back down. Jumping up, going back down, which we all do, and still. I'm 42, and I still do that. And then she's so excited because she can go underwater, and she comes back up, and she's so excited. And there's this crazy joy in her face. And I watch her do this for 10 minutes of this 45-minute class, and I'm like, okay, she's super happy. And there was something I was doing later that night that I needed to get ready for, and I had my phone to do it. So I grab my phone, I'm start looking at this stuff, and I'm getting stuff ready, and I hear my daughter go, Dad. Put my phone down, I look at her, and she goes, hey, put your phone away, and you got to watch me swim. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I do need to do that. I do. Even though you're doing the same exact thing, and what I'm watching right now, every time it's the same repetitive stuff, she wants to be noticed. She wants attention. She wants me to pay some attention to her because she's proud of what she's doing. She's excited about what she's doing. And here I am with an opportunity to give her the attention she wants. And instead I'm on my phone messing around with something that's going to matter to me in a couple hours, but just for me. And it's just compared to my daughter, it's not there. But I thought, okay, I need to maybe just in general do a better job of paying attention to a lot of things. And I don't want to just blame the telephone, my cell phone, about it, but I think the cell phone is a big, huge issue with this anymore, where we're at right now. But everyone likes getting paid attention to. And I think everyone deserves to get attention paid to them. I notice it a lot in a lot of things I do. In fact, I'll give you examples the last 2 nights. Monday night, I play basketball on Monday nights. I notice this a lot on a basketball court. And I'm not great in this situation. And I think we'll get into that. But if you go to an open gym and you're playing and there's guys who shoot all the time. They shoot all the time. They don't pass it. They just are a black hole of shooting. I believe, and I'm not a psychiatrist, but I believe they want attention, man. Just like all of us do. Just like every human wants attention. They want attention. They think they can hit these shots. And they shoot it because when it goes in, everyone looks at them. And everyone's paying attention. And they may be a really good shooter and they want us to pay attention. Do they want to win? Yeah. Do they want to prove that they can make a basket? Yeah. But I think at the heart of the whole thing, they want people to pay attention to them. And sometimes in basketball, and I'm very different than this, I'm wired very different than this, I like winning a whole lot. I like seeing other people lose that I want to see lose a whole lot. And I know that part of that is making sure your whole team's locked in, because there is nothing that is I love more than being against a guy who shoots. I've said this before, but against the guys who shoot it every time, I'm going to beat them all the time because they don't have any. There's no team chemistry. Their team crumbles. I love to talk trash, and so I'll talk trash about it. We just talked about this, but the guys who shoot all the time, I think they want attention paid to them, and that's just maybe a cry for that. Tonight, I had my Dungeons and Dragons group. And in this situation, it's the same kind of thing, right? You're presented with a scenario. Okay, here is what's happening in this fantastical world that we're all pretending to be part of. What do you want to do? How do you want to approach this situation? And in our group, everyone's chiming in with ideas. And people are talking louder and louder over people because and it gets sometimes kind of annoying, but people just want you to pay attention to them. You know, and they get frustrated when everyone's talking over them and you see people shut down and they're not happy. And it's because we all as humans innately want someone to pay attention to us. And I get lost day in, day out with all the little crap in my life. And whether it's with my wife, maybe it could be on a phone call with somebody and something happens and I stop paying attention to them. Maybe I haven't reached out to someone in a while. Maybe someone texts me and says, hey, hit me up, and I don't. My daughter just wants me to watch her do some swimming stuff, and I'm not because I'm on my phone. I want to do a better job paying attention. So my challenge is, and again, I told you, I'm not motivational, I'm not inspirational. This part of the last 5 minutes of your life, you're like, what the heck are you talking about? My challenge would be, for the next 24 hours from where you listen to this, really find some people to pay attention to. Really find some people to pay attention to. And even go further than that, ask about them. Ask about them and pay attention to their answers. Give them a moment. Let them talk to you about whatever's going on. I think it's valuable. I don't know. I don't think we do it enough anymore. I'm a 100-year-old man who loves oatmeal cookies, but I don't think we pay enough attention to people. I think we're out there jacking up threes all the time, wanting people to pay attention to us. And I don't think we pay enough attention to other people. So I challenge you the next 24 hours, whether it's at work, at home, with your kids, with your spouse, with your significant other, whoever's around you, your roommates, go out of your way to pay attention to them. I think it would be beneficial. I think it's healthy. It's going to benefit everyone in that one. You might get to learn something about someone you didn't know. So that's my challenge. And I appreciate my daughter kind of reminding me that I need to do a better job of getting out of my own life and out of my own head and pay attention to the people I love and the people that I'm around. Okay, again, not motivational, not inspirational. That's my challenge to you. Maybe it meant something to you. Maybe it didn't. For me, listening in 8 years, I hope I've gotten better by then of paying better attention to the people in my life. And if I haven't, I hope this is kind of a reminder that you need to put some of your distractions aside when you're at a spot that you could be paying attention to people. Okay, shall we do comments? Because I don't know what just happened on the podcast. Let's do comments. You can always get involved with the podcast. The ways to do that are on YouTube. You can put a comment in one of the YouTube videos. We will read those. If you get a comment on if you're listening on Spotify, the latest episode of Spotify, you can hit the Q&A section, comment there. Or the easiest way to do it, go to shawnslife.com, and there's a huge comment box on that page, and you can put in your comments, your questions, your concerns, plug whatever you want, give a shout out to someone. I don't care. We read those at the end of the podcast. Let's go to YouTube to start with. A lot of people helping out with the yard thing, me mowing my neighbor's lawn. Let's start with Roberta. Leave your neighbors a note. Good luck. We're all fenced here. Some people are way too anal about lawns. I know. And Roberta, I respect the people who are, because some people's lawns, my buddy Josh's lawn, it was immaculate. Always immaculate. Perfect. And so I never wanted to, if we were walking Jovi, I never let Jovi get close to his lawn because I didn't want her to pee on it. Definitely didn't want her to poop on it. I didn't want to pee on it. And so I respected that he was anal about his lawn because he put a lot of time and effort into it. But you're right. And considering we're not fenced in the backyards, it gets nutty back there. All right, Brian said this on YouTube. I would leave a note with my name and number apologizing for it and let her know you're willing to mow her lawn as well for the mistake. Most of the time, they'll never even call back, and the rest of them just forgive you, but you will have a few that will make a big deal of it. Yeah, Brian, you're right. And the ones who make a big deal about it, it's a problem. So, Brian, that's, I think, great advice. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to get a little note, put it in her mailbox, and just say, look, here's my number. I apologize. I will mow your lawn, front yard moving forward. I wouldn't even mind mowing part of her backyard if it would help her out a little bit. But I think Brian, that's a great comment. Shall we head to Spotify and see what the comments were there? I think we shall. Let's see if I can bring them up. Why aren't they showing up right now? I know there was a couple on Spotify. Here we go. There they are. The first one came in from Yvonne. Yvonne said, if I was you, okay, here we go, mowing. If I was you, I would have done the same thing with mowing. Finish what you start. If someone mowed my lawn, I would love it. I would too. Yvonne, I would too. If someone mowed my lawn, I would love it. And again, that also comes back to what Roberta said. Some people are very anal about their yard. I'm not. And so for me, someone came by and mowed my lawn, I would just be very, very thankful about it. If you did what I did and you mowed most of the lawn, if someone mowed most of my lawn, I'd probably be pissed. Sharon says this. Okay, we got some cookie talk. Sharon says, chocolate chip and oatmeal cookies are my favorite. Okay, John, 50% you. Sean, 50% me. John, maybe we're just a good match. Maybe we're just a good match, bro. John, are you going to come out to Nashville or Lexington? Come on. I actually talked to someone who is motivational today, my good buddy, Roberto Sacre, and I'm begging him to come out here and buy a horse. He's in the horse game with a couple people, and I don't think Rob just has the cash right now to put down on a horse, but he's involved with enough people that want to get a horse. There's nothing I want more. Well, first of all, I'd love to see him, but I would love to be around when a horse is purchased. I feel like that's the most Kentucky. Hang on, I need to drink a little water. There we go. Sharon says, okay, yeah, chocolate chip cookie, oatmeal cookies. I'm glad Banu is gone from Survivor. Hunter is a beast. Sharon, Banu it was time. I enjoyed Bono for about an episode and a half. And then it was time. And now it's time to move forward. Hunter's almost too good. The more I've thought about it this last week, Hunter, I don't think you can win because I just think you're too much of a threat already. Okay, let's go to shawnslife.com where you can leave a comment. Ian left one there, and then this is our only comment from that spot. It says, this is going to sound weird considering your podcast. How are you doing? You had loved ones pass, and you talk about how you feel given certain things and focus on the good. You don't really tell us how you're doing overall. Did my wife get a hold of you, Ian? I don't do well at that. I don't do well at that. You don't really tell us how you're doing at all. Doing well, or nah, you already read that. I already read that part. See, I'm rattled. I just thought I'd ask that question since no one asked specifically how people are doing anymore. Love you, buddy. I know that's weird given how little we hung out or interacted on that level. I got receipts that it's real. That's funny. Yeah, you do, man. Plus, we got our Destiny on back in the day. Mike mentioned it a while ago. We were like, we need to maybe bust out some revisit Destiny with Ian, with Voodoo Jester. That's actually really nice of you, Ian. I don't do well in this situation. I'm doing okay. We've got some stresses out here that we're dealing with. I got this cough that I think is the black lung that we're dealing with. We're doing okay. And there was something else. It's funny because I think kind of some of what you said in that message is a better version of what I was trying to say. And Kelly's, what do I wish I was into? When you said, no one asked specifically how people are doing anymore. I agree. I really try to make a point of that and ask people what's going on, how they're doing, what they're into. Because I'm with you. You get lost in your own world, right? You get lost in your own world. People got a lot going on. And we've kind of got a society where it's me. And so I think it's really healthy to make sure we're paying attention to the people around us. They're really cool. People around us are really cool. Friends are really cool. I have probably done a really bad job with Andy. I owe you a phone call. Johnny Drez, I owe you a phone call. Max, I owe you a phone call. I mean, the amount of phone calls. Walter, I owe you a phone call. I mean, just a million of people. And I again, get lost in my own world. I need to reach out to people. Okay. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We made it over 30 minutes. Your favorite 15-minute podcast, just hitting the 31-minute mark. Thank you for tuning in.